Okay, so Sony's State of Play just wrapped up. It was a little over 40 minutes long, and I was going through writing down a bunch of notes and different parts for Newswave tomorrow morning. Make sure you check that out, 8 a.m. Eastern Time on the main channel, Spawnwave. But as I'm going through this, there were a lot of titles that were shown, but there wasn't anything that was like this massive, exciting part of the show. And to be honest, the end kind of a letdown for me, and we'll go over this though here today. So if you guys enjoy the video, make sure you like it and subscribe to the Spawnwave Plus channel if you're new. So they started off with a PlayStation VR 2 section, and it kind of needed at this point. The device just came out, and the thing everyone's asking for who bought one are just more games, just a focus from Sony on it. And they went through each game pretty quickly, right? And the one that I think caught my attention the most was probably Before Your Eyes, which according to them is an interactive afterlife played with your eyes. Whenever you blink, you jump forward in time. I said it has like a pretty cool cel-shaded art style, and it's out in a couple of weeks, actually, March 10th. So the idea of jumping through someone's life very, very quickly, it's a unique idea for VR, so that's pretty cool. From there, they went to Destiny 2. Again, that makes sense considering they own Bungie now, so they're going to include them in some capacity. And from there, they jumped through a bunch of other titles, but they did talk about PlayStation Plus and revealed titles for next month. This was done fairly early because usually they would do this maybe like next week, although I guess February is a shorter month than usual, so they figure, hey, let's just go ahead and get these out there before Bill just leaks it early anyway. Like that might have happened tomorrow, right? So yeah, let's do it on our own terms. But next month looks pretty good. They flashed through it pretty quick, but Ghostwire Tokyo was in there. I saw Uncharted. I assume that means Ghostwire Tokyo is going to pop up randomly on the Xbox store as well. So again, going through some of these titles, the next big one, I guess, was a Naruto Boruto game, Ultimate Ninja Storm Connections. Not a big Naruto guy at all. Looked kind of like I don't know if it was a 2D or a 3D arena brawler. That's coming out 2023. Street Fighter 6, they showed off 3 new characters, Zangief, and what's pretty cool is, one, I think the art style and the visuals look really good in Street Fighter 6. Bit of a callback at times to Street Fighter 4, which was a fighting game I actually kind of got into. I don't get into a ton of them, but that one, I don't know, something about that game, the art style, the way it played, it definitely was very enjoyable. But Zangief had a good showing here. They also had like the jackhammer, which is pretty fun. A lot of wrestling moves, obviously, from Zangief. Then Lily, who was, again, a really interesting character. And then Cammy was there as well. June 2nd for Street Fighter 6. Resident Evil 4 Remake showed off more of that. I've seen enough of this game. I'm just ready for it to come out, right? Like, sure, there's going to be a demo. Big surprise. We all figured there would be a demo at some point, considering the game is out in 1 month, actually. I assume this demo is coming up in the next couple of weeks. They've done a demo for all the other Resident Evils. That's why it was pretty obvious we were getting some kind of demo. A little surprised they didn't shadow drop it here, but hey, we at least have that to look forward to. Also, I like some of the different things they showed with the counter. Is like a counter, and then he roundhouses into it. It just looks very smooth, and really excited for Resident Evil 4 Remake. And then we got to the part that is going to be a very divisive section of this State of Play. We knew going into it there was going to be an extended look at Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. This is a game that I don't think any of us expected Rocksteady to pivot towards after the Arkham series wrapped up with Arkham Knight back in 2015. I mean, think about it. About 8 years, yeah. 8 years since their last title that they released. And I guess this is what they've been working on ever since. So they immediately start showing off some of the gameplay for it. We've seen cutscenes and other things. That's mostly how they've built this up. But they do a deep dive on it. Third-person action shooter. It's set 5 years after Arkham Knight. And as they say, they're showing it from the villain's perspective with the Suicide Squad. 4-player online co-op. But it goes beyond that. There is no actual single player necessarily in this game. Sure, you can play by yourself without other human players, but bots will fill in the gaps there. So you're always going to have a squad around you, which tells me that basically the entire game is geared around multiplayer, right? And they showed off the Flash as well as other superheroes. I saw Green Lantern was in there, Superman, of course, Batman, but the Flash was the main focus of this extended gameplay demo. He's been corrupted. Apparently Brainiac, go figure, is like at the cause of all of this. And they did show Wonder Woman there at the end, grabbing Flash with her lasso, asking how to stop this, and the Flash says you gotta wipe us all out, basically. So that sets up the entire story. I assume this part that they showed was like the very beginning or close to the beginning of the game, as Flash has been kind of shown as, I guess, the first hero kind of you run into. So I'm holding out hope that the game takes some sort of change or pivot midway through, because what they showed, I mean, as I'm looking at it, I wrote down generic, basic, expected. It's a third-person shooter, right? So they showcase you traversing around what was a fairly large arena. They had soldiers, helicopters, tanks. Again, a very generic feeling to it. Each one had sort of weak points, and then there's like the big set piece in the middle that you have to take down. All of this trying to get Luthor back as he was captured, Lex Luthor. And as I'm watching this, they're trying to jump between the different heroes or anti-heroes, the Suicide Squad members. I didn't feel like either of them was necessarily that different. I mean, sure, Harley Quinn, very agile. They showcased that. They had your tank character. They had Deadshot flying around with a jetpack and sniping people. But, I mean, they're all using the same weapons, basically similar weapons, right? I mean, they go over all of this. They have gear sets, power levels, the cosmetics are separate. You have your weapon upgrades, manufacturers. Like, it is really calling back to them seeing Suicide Squad and going, how do we take this and fit it into that live service box that is becoming very samey across the board, across the industry right now. And when we had that Battle Pass leak out, that's what a lot of people, I feel like, were concerned about when they heard that. And the gameplay, the showing here, I don't think did anything to deter that thought process. And in fact, for me, kind of magnified it a bit. I'm still holding out, like, all right, this is Rocksteady. They've worked on this game forever, basically. It would be very odd that they show up with a generic, by-the-book, live service, third-person shooter game. I mean, I'm looking at this thing, and I don't necessarily want to say it. Man, it felt like Avengers there for a little while. It's like Avengers and Outriders mixed together with a touch of Crackdown. That's sort of how I can, I guess, describe what we saw here with this game. And they said they're going to have continued content updates for it. So yeah, it's going to be that live service project going forward for years and years, which makes me think that this is what Rocksteady's going to be doing for a long time. So unfortunately, they have, at least unfortunately for me, they've broken away from really what got them to like the pinnacle where we're like, all right, that's Rocksteady. Look at them, they're showing up. Even Arkham Knight, for people, it was a down game, but it's still like a really good game, right? I mean, not on the level of Asylum or City for a lot of people, but still, it's like, okay, it's a high quality title, but it's not like ultra high quality, this incredible experience like those. But still, for most of the industry, it's a game that they aspire to create, and now they're moving over to what I would say is kind of a trend-chasing maneuver. The only thing that's really keeping me on board with this game, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, is the plot. I think the story, they showed a lot of cutscenes mixed in with, again, fairly generic-looking gameplay that had me engaged. I'm like, okay, how is the band of misfits going to go out there and take down Green Lantern? How are they going to go out there and take down Superman or Batman, right? And then Brainiac hovering over the whole thing, playing chess with all the pieces. That would be fun to go through and just see how that concludes. But to be honest, at that point, I wouldn't mind if they just made like an animated film or something to go through that. But I'm gonna check out Suicide Squad when it comes out, and I'm reserving judgment until I get a chance to play it, because once again, it is Rocksteady and they have earned that benefit of the doubt. But this is going to be interesting. coming out May 26th. So unfortunately for me, that was kind of a down note for the entire state of play, but looking up and down the board, nothing too crazy that I think people are going to look back and be like, remember that state of play when this was revealed, or everyone got real excited for this moment, or that one more thing. But hey, let me know what you guys thought about this state of play down below. I think I got it. If I had to give it a letter grade, probably in at a C currently. Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.